Hello, good morning, and welcome to Tutors Talk with me, Radian, or you can call me Brad. I'm here, hari ini aku ditemani oleh tiga tutor yang sangat menakjubkan, dan kita bakal ngobrol-ngobrolin tentang pengalaman masing-masing dalam mengajar, especially mengajar IELTS. But before we get to the content, I would like to ask you to please like and subscribe this video because it is not only for us, karena kalian juga akan mendapatkan simulasi gratis sama salah satu dari tutor di sini. Jadi kalau kalian misalkan mau nyobain simulasi, penasaran belajar IELTS atau bahasa Inggris, tulis aja di kolom komen di bawah mau simulasi sama siapa. Begitu saja. Right, so let's start. Kita di sini ada tiga tutor dan I would like for each of you to introduce yourself. Mungkin bisa dimulai dari Mr. Hakiki, silakan boleh perkenalkan diri dulu.
Okay, so my name is Hakiki. Saya dari Malang, so in East Java, and I have a master's degree in applied linguistics.
That is cool. How long have you been teaching, sir?
I've been
Especially
teaching.
IELTS.
I've been teaching since 2015, so that's around 7 years.
Woof, very veteran, yeah. All right then, thank you very much for the introduction. What about Miss Nuraini?
All right, hello everyone. My name is Miss Eni and I'm from Makassar. I took my master degree in Monash University, Australia in ESOL. And then I have been teaching IELTS since 2009 or 2010. I don't really remember, but yeah, I think it's more than 10 years.
And even more veteran, yeah? Wow, that's cool. Thank you very much, Miss Eni. Last but not least, we have Miss Teresa right here. If you may, Miss Teresa.
Well, hi everyone. I think I'm the most junior out of all here. My name is Teresa, as Mr. Brett has mentioned. I'm actually not I was not actually an English student, but I came from international relation major. But I scored like an IELTS 8, and I would like to share my experience and also my knowledge on how to achieve that to you guys. So in this past year, I've been teaching for about a year for IELTS. I've joined with FocusIELTS.com, and help many students.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your introduction. Right. So actually, the reason why we are here today is actually we are only going to have a bit of a talk dan kita kayak ngobrol-ngobrol aja sih. Karena kan penasaran setiap orang kan ada pengalaman yang berbeda-beda dalam mengajar IELTS kan. So the first question and of course the most important one would be this. Bisa nggak? Can you try to talk about your experience in teaching IELTS from the beginning until right now? Maybe we can start from Miss Nuraini.
Okay. So the first time I taught IELTS, when I was in Balikpapan. Jadi saya bekerja di tempat kursus di salah satu tempat kursus bahasa Inggris Balikpapan dan juga sekaligus menyediakan konsultasi pendidikan ke Australia. Jadi banyak student kami yang sekaligus konsultasi juga mengambil kelas IELTS di sana. So my manager assigned me to teach IELTS, and actually I didn't know what IELTS was, so I learned by myself. And then of course my manager also assisted me to learn IELTS, and then I had to take the IELTS test before because I need to reach certain score to be able to teach IELTS in that place. And then I remember that to prepare to be IELTS test, I read all IELTS books in the office, and then I did all IELTS tests in the office, and then after seeing my performance, my manager decided me that okay, you could go to the IELTS class. And then I guess when the first time I taught IELTS, I was really nervous, because my students, most of my students were workers, and some of them are senior high school students who wanted to go to Australia or another countries to take their to continue their study to the college. And then I think for the first time I still didn't do very well because it was my first experience. And then since that time I kept learning until now. I still keep learning about what's the best IELTS material that I can give to my students, the best tips and strategies. So I watch a lot of IELTS speaking videos on YouTube. I follow a lot of, I even subscribe to IELTS website that regularly send to the subscribers tips and examples and lessons for IELTS speaking or IELTS writing. Yeah.
I
so
see.
I guess, it's a long it's a long journey.
But of course, after we have been taking the IELTS test and after we have been teaching a long time as well, there are still much more to learn biasanya kan. Jadi setelah udah ngambil IELTS test juga,
that's right.
udah ngajar juga.
Because all students are different, so.
Yap. Jadi ya karena murid-murid beda juga kita harus mulai mengadaptasi ya. Kayak misalkan bagaimana kalau tipe studentnya gini, tipe student seperti itu, perhaps like that ya. Okay, very interesting. And what about Mr. Hakiki? Could you share your experience, please?
Okay, so I mean, yeah, I have a similar start with Miss Annie. So I started in institution, in a small institution that has an IELTS that provides IELTS training and also some sort of like promotion, on Australian universities basically. So yeah, at that time, I graduated from university and wanted to take a scholarship. So I was a client there first, before I became a teacher. So I was there to learn, and then after I did my test, the manager offered me, what about teaching there while waiting for the scholarship opportunity? So I did that, and yeah, I was teaching at that place for around a year or so. I met a lot of different students, ranging from 16 years old to I think the oldest one I taught was around 45 years old. Yeah, student who wanted to take a PhD. So yeah, very different experiences, of course, with the various age groups, the language levels. I mean, there are a lot of obstacles, in the ways. But again, as teachers, we have to adapt it to the different kind of situations. And through experience in taking the IELTS test, through experience in teaching all different kinds of students, I found many strategies that I can implement to different types of students. And also, I also had the opportunity, I think it was like in 2019, to also take a CELTA course, which also helped me in differentiating how to teach general English and also teaching test-based English such as IELTS or TOEFL IB. So there's a difference in that, and it helped me quite a lot.
Wow, that is impressive ya, karena memang memiliki berbagai macam murid dan juga the lessons that they have learned is actually very challenging for us ya, karena kan nggak cuma belajar buat IELTS doang. Sometimes we have to focus on teaching TOEFL, even something like general English as well. So being able to adapt to all those kinds of things are actually what makes tutors amazing. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing, Mr. Hakiki. And Miss Teresa, please.
Well, actually, I have a different start with compared to Mr. Hakiki and Miss Annie. Like, I actually took my IELTS. Sebenarnya mirip sih karena sama Mr. Hakiki ya. Mau ngambil scholarship, mau daftar scholarship, and then like I took the IELTS. I got quite a high score, I suppose. I got a band 8. But unfortunately, I didn't get the scholarship gitu kan. Terus kayak mau ngapain ya sambil nunggu scholarship, apa sih waktu scholarship berikutnya, kan aku ngincer itu gitu kan. And then like I just apply to the job. Saya apply beberapa job gitu yang untuk bahasa Inggris ngajar karena saya lumayan suka ngajar. Terima, ya udah like that. But then like I encounter challenges kayak apa ya? When I prepare myself, I know what I have to do. Tapi ternyata untuk mengasih tahu orang untuk ngarah ke sana, ini lo yang harus lakukan, itu that's more challenging than preparing ourselves gitu. Dan benar kata Mr. Biret juga, apa ya, kemampuannya kan beda-beda, terus juga kayak skillsnya beda, tipe karakteristik orangnya pun beda-beda. Itu yang biasanya kayak that's the challenging part, karena harus custom jadinya antara satu student ke student lain, gitu nggak sih?
Ya betul, karena kalau misalkan kita ngelihat dari diri sendiri juga, kita kayak misalkan kita mah udah tahu gitu, oh ini kan tinggal gini, tapi kan saat kita deliver ke orang ya, maybe beberapa orang tidak langsung paham contohnya kayak gitu kan. And that is normal of course, karena kan ya tentu aja kalau gitu ya itu kan alasan mereka orang-orang belajar gitu kan. Kalau ngomong ya udah langsung ngambil tes IELTS kan gitu kan. So that's why to be able to untuk nge-adjust biar kita bisa menjelaskannya itu dan sampai mereka paham ya, that is the greatest challenge. Tapi mungkin saat kita berhasil juga itu memuaskan ya biasanya. Pas mereka memahami our method, it was like, wah okay, so it works gitu. Tapi memang awal-awal juga mungkin saya memiliki start yang mirip sama Miss Teresa sih. Saya ingat banget pertama kali ngajar tuh, benar-benar pertama habis lulus langsung jadi guru kan. Dia bos saya ngomong, oke, ini murid pertama nih, dia belajar IELTS. Oke. Terus saya bisik-bisik, Sir, IELTS itu apa? Saya nggak tahu IELTS apaan seriusan. Habis saya lulus kuliah itu kayak, IELTS apaan? Kata saya langsung disuruh ngajar itu. Tapi kan of course, we have to think that, oke, kalau gitu mari kita cobain aja sih. Dan oke, ya kalau gitu kita memiliki approach yang sama sih. Kita sambil belajar, berarti kita sambil ngajar juga kan ke murid kan. Gitu biasanya. Pretty interesting stories ya, karena each of you have different experiences, tapi awalnya sama kan biasanya dari mengambil IELTS testnya dulu. Dari situ kita langsung tahu startnya bahwa, oh oke, di sini kita want to pass on our information as well ya to the students. Perhaps it is like that.
Exactly.
Impressive. Oke dan sebenarnya kan saya pernah lihat di Instagram tuh kan masing-masing tuh biasanya kalau misalkan ada murid yang berhasil di post tuh di Instagram story kan, kayak ini diajar oleh Miss Teresa, ini sama Mr. Hakiki. So far dari pengalaman para tutor yang di sini, faktor apa sih yang bisa membuat muridnya itu bisa mencapai nilai yang tinggi biasanya? Apakah ada special case kah, atau do you have like special ingredient untuk ngebikin si murid bisa mencapai benefit yang cukup tinggi? Maybe we can start from Mr. Hakiki.
Okay, so I mean, there's no one recipe for success, yeah, for every student. We have to mix and match, trial and error with different types of strategies to accommodate the students. So I mean, basically, I mean, if we look at their background is very important in determining how well they succeed. It can be educational background. So I've had some students who have medical degrees, and they are much easier in adapting to the IELTS questions. However, usually students who study in let's just say, I don't want to point out specific jurusan, because I don't want to make any general assumptions, but some students have problems because of their educational background, and that is because of the lack of exposure to English. So, I mean, we have to look at the general background. Yeah? We can't just say, okay, so this is the method and it will be a success for everyone. I mean, there's no method that can do that, in my opinion. So like, we have to do lots of trial and errors. But again, usually certain educational backgrounds are much easier to adapt to the IELTS test compared to others.
Oke, I couldn't agree more actually, karena ya memang kan kita harus memperhatikan background student loh. It is something that we cannot overlook actually. Kita nggak bisa mengabaikan studentnya sekolah dari mana atau lulusan jurusan apa contohnya, karena itu penting sebetulnya. Kalau kita main hajar aja masih formula yang sama ya pasti susah lah, makanya. I agree with Mr. Hakiki. Alright, but what about from Miss Annie's point of view?
Kalau dari pengalaman saya, salah satu faktor yang menentukan mereka bisa mencapai nilai maksimal adalah how much money they want to invest on their IELTS learning. Karena ada beberapa student yang awalnya dia kurang performance-nya nggak bagus, but after I send him like practice and the students did the practice like every day for listening and speaking, and then the students can finally perform well. So I think it's and then just like some students just say that, oh, I want to get like 7 or 7.5, but then the students doesn't have enough time to do the practice. Then I say that it's you will improve, but not significantly, because I mean you cannot just expect to perform well by just learning the class, but you actually do a lot of practice at home, and this also matters. So I always ask my students you have to spend enough time to invest enough time to do some practice at home, and the students who apply that 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 advice, they could perform well. I mean, they could get the high score that they could achieve, and also their habits. I think the readers, okay, when the students are readers, they could perform well in reading and speaking because they know a lot. Their general knowledge is deep, so they can talk about anything.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. It
And
can
that's right.
yeah, it can be seen from the what do you call it, from their personal hobbies or maybe interest as well ya.
Yeah,
Karena kan
that's right.
hal-hal begitu aja, even though it is small, kayak misalkan orang yang sering banget nonton film atau nonton podcast, taunya bisa ngomong dengan fasih. Usually it can happen like that actually. With interesting point of view as well ya. And Miss Teresa, what do you think?
Okay, I agree with Mr. Hakike and Miss Annie, but I have like few other things, I suppose. Buat aku kayak kalau kunci keberhasilan itu satu, how easy are they to receive feedback and change themselves? Karena apa ya? Jadi ini sih yang kayak paling penting banget karena ada student yang belajar 3 bulan sama saya, tapi progresnya itu kecil banget biarpun dia ngerjain PR dan segala macam karena apa ya, habitnya udah kebentuk terus susah ngubahnya gitu. Dan yang parahnya lagi adalah karena anak ini biasa ngomong bahasa Inggris tapi writingnya itu berantakan, jadinya habit writingnya udah kebawa, itu susah banget ngubahnya gitu. So that's one of the things. So contrary to popular belief, being able to speak English well and using English well in daily life doesn't mean your IELTS score will be very high. Actually kayaknya lebih kayak yang Mr. Hakiki bilang, kalau background akademiknya lebih, because IELTS itu kan akademik ya, dia lebih ke akademik gitu tesnya. Jadi kalau ada background akademik untuk kayak baca, menganalisa tulisan, terus mengatur tulisan dengan terstruktur gitu, itu lebih gampang dibandingkan sekadar bisa bahasa Inggris komunikasi doang gitu. Of course it helps, karena kan kayak ya udah ada ini ya, udah ada vocabulary-nya, udah ada dasar grammar dan segala macam. Tapi untuk analytical skills dan academical skills-nya itu tetap harus dikejar juga gitu. I think
ya betul.
that.
I actually completely agree with that as well sih. Karena kan habits adalah sesuatu yang susah untuk dirubah, terutama kalau untuk skill kayak writing atau speaking ya. Kalau misalkan ada orang writing kebiasaan pakai I'm atau nggak apa, itu juga harus dirubah banget dan that's it gitu. And it's actually depends on the student as well ya. Apakah mereka mengikuti feedback atau enggak. Karena kalau misalkan kita ngasih like tens of feedbacks tapi nggak ada yang didengerin kan, that will be problematic gitu. So it's our job as well to try to deliver like how to insist on them like bagaimana cara memperbaikinya so that they can listen to it and they can fix themselves kayak gitu. Jadi ya it depends on us and also on the students themselves sih. Karena kan kita bukan magicians kayak simsalabim boom langsung dapat bandwidth 8, nggak gitu juga cara kerjanya kan. But it depends on you, the students who want to improve on yourself as well ya, harus rajin juga. So actually this has been a really interesting talk with all of these 3 tutors karena kan masing-masing memiliki point of view sendiri, pengalaman sendiri, dan bahkan memiliki like their own key kayak sebenarnya bagaimana sih caranya untuk mengatasi murid untuk yang pengen belajar IELTS, apakah yang umur berapa atau yang memiliki background educational yang seperti apa juga. It can be different actually. So thank you very much for sharing all of this. I really appreciate it and the viewers appreciate it as well karena dari situ kita belajar bahwa ya murid itu sebenarnya mau backgroundnya dari manapun atau umur berapapun juga, of course you can learn gitu. Hanya kita menggunakan different approach aja gitu. Jadi nothing is impossible sih. Kita pasti bisa ngajar juga mau backgroundnya seperti apa, umurnya berapa, ada yang muda banget, ada yang udah mungkin sekitar 40 kelas juga masih belajar, it's fine. Karena there is never too early or too late for studying. So thank you very much all 3 of you for sharing. I really appreciate it. So that will be the end of today's Tutors Talk. So please wait for us in our next video. So goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.